Hello Mabu, hi, Antonio is here again with another serious rant from yours truly, and today, I am gonna rant on stereotype-related insecurity issue, ableism. I have experienced it a lot since early childhood, and it makes me sick to the stomach that I wanna isolate myself for a while and calm down, to avoid further escalation. And this rant is intended to raise awareness of how bad is ableism and how do we work together to put to an end of the stereotype behavioral crisis. So without further ado, let's roll up to the rant. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Ableism is one of the most normalized forms of discrimination in real life and online, not because it is subtle, but because it is constantly justified as help, discipline, or preparation for the real world. I will explain to you why that justification fails, ethically, psychologically, and practically. This is not about excuses, it is about reality. Ableism is the assumption that there is one correct way to think, behave, communicate, or live, and that anyone who diverges from that standard must be fixed, forced, or punished. Disability and neurodivergence are not moral failures. They are variations in human capability, and pretending otherwise causes great harm more than good, especially those with autism. Autism is not a lack of humanity. It is not a refusal to try. It is a different neurological framework with its own strengths, limits, and needs. Yet ableism insists on measuring autistic people, and many others, against a single, narrow definition of normal, then punishing them for not matching it. That's wrong. Here are the examples. First, they were forced engagement like normal people. I've seen this a lot of times since the mid-2010s. That really stinks so bad. Forcing social engagement does not actually teach social skills at all. It actually teaches fear, masking, and burnout, eye contact, constant interaction, group participation. These are treated as moral requirements instead of preferences or capacities. When consent is removed, support becomes coercion. Secondly, they were forced to catch up to mental age by biological number. The idea that someone must catch up to an imagined mental age because of a biological number is not real science. It is social impatience. Development is not a race. Intelligence is not linear. And using age as a weapon to shame or rush disabled people is lazy and cruel. Thirdly, they were ignored actual capabilities. Ableism focuses obsessively on deficits while ignoring real capabilities. People are being pressured to perform tasks they cannot safely or sustainably do, while their actual skills are dismissed because they do not look productive enough. That is not inclusion, that is erasure. Fourth, they have forced behavior change without free will. Behavior change without consent is not growth, it is compliance training. When disabled people are told to suppress stimming, emotion, communication styles, or coping mechanisms just to make others comfortable, the message is very clear: your well-being matters less than appearances. Now, here are the great examples of ableism, and you must not copy those behaviors. I will mention it now. The following cases are entirely fictional and are used solely to illustrate how ableism operates in everyday decisions. They are not references to real people. Madison, who is 11, was forced to stop believing in Santa solely because she reached a preteen age. Adults framed this as growing up. Ignoring that imaginative belief harmed no one and provided comfort. The message she received was clear: age, not readiness, dictates acceptable in her life. Secondly, Mary, who was 16, was pressured to talk properly like normal people, even though her cognitive capability aligned closer to that of a 10-year-old. Grammar correction was enforced as discipline rather than support, turning communication into a constant test instead of a bridge. That's actually causing more harm than good of what expected. Shadi, a 26-year-old native Thai speaker, was forced to speak only standard English to be taken seriously. Her multilingual background was treated as a flaw, instead of a capability, prioritizing conformity over effective communication. The next example, Rodi, 19, was pushed toward marriage because others decided he was old enough. His actual mental readiness was ignored entirely. Age was used as justification to override autonomy, resulting in coercion rather than consent. That would be potentially be suspected marriage fraud or adultery. If the forced adult was already married to, And finally, Helen, who was 14, was required to read The Hobbit because of her age, and all of the grown-up books that were marketed for her age, without free will or consent. That's actually more dangerous than it helps on expectations of others. Despite only beginning English at age 10, fluent in Korean, she was denied skill-appropriate materials like ABC Jungle Books and Disney's World of Reading series because they were labeled for preschoolers. Education became punishment instead of support. I mean seriously, age is only a number, for Jesus Christ's sake. Those books are not solely targeted for ages of kids, they're also good for older kids, and teens who are in the lower level of language skills they want or need to take. And let us make this clear, ableism burns people out, breaks trust, and then blames the victim for collapsing. You cannot demand performance without accommodation, compliance, without consent, or normalization without damage, and then act surprised when people suffer. Real support is consent-based, capability-aware, and flexible. It adapts environments. At all costs. Dignity means respecting limits. Inclusion means expanding access. And progress means abandoning the fantasy that everyone must function the same way to be valued. And so in conclusion, ableism survives because it disguises itself as help. This rant exists to strip that disguise away. Disabled and neurodivergent people do not need to be forced into normalcy. They need autonomy, respect, and systems that stop treating difference as defect. And that's all for this video. Please spread the word by resharing this video to your friends and to your loved ones. And don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated. Like I said, always choose truth and morality over blind legality. That's all for now. It's over and out. From Antonio, to God be the glory, always.